there was dozens.
Yeah, I see.
And I swear she'd make them up on the daily just so that she can keep adding to it.
Okay. Um,
So I think a learning experience from that would have been very much to be the advanced, intelligent, emotionally person that would be confident enough to say, hey, I do not think you are invested in this, that you don't seem to enjoy coming to your classroom, and am I reading this wrong? Like what's going on? If I was taking the time to say, what are all the things you're unhappy with? Because if I would have been more mature, more seasoned, and had more time to do that with her, it probably would have saved that whole need to meet them with the group. I mean, it goes back to that whole communication. That was their third, point that they wanted to have remedied. Is just because there was no communication. They would kind of get stuff from Pam, and they would hear from the grapevine from other staff, and so I know for a fact that it would have been solving a lot of the frustrations, but I didn't, and I couldn't
yeah.
up to
I
that
mean,
point.
you would have said this to Pam or to all the different staff there. I don't
I
think you're
guess
invested in this. You don't seem to enjoy coming to your classroom.
that would have been a conversation with Pam, but
Right.
if I would have had, the monthly newsletter straight from me or whatever to the staff for the whole school year, it wouldn't have been building up because it would have been like, okay, well, it looks like we have decided that we're going to be moving at the end of this school year when we did decide at the end of, of December. So then it's like 4 months of knowing what's going to be happening rather than, supposedly Pam saying, we just barely found out and we only have a month until the end of school. And so,
Oh, so
communication is huge.
you and the board decided in December to move, but somehow the staff wasn't clear on it until.
Well, we told everybody that it would be happening. We just need to get back to them on the logistics once we know the new place that, the new classrooms that you're going to be at the new campus and everything. And so they knew it was happening in December when we decided. However, in February-ish, we did have a little bit of a um, problem that could have prevented us from being able to move into this new location. And so from that knowledge, getting to people saying, hey, there's a chance that we might not be, it started a potential, okay, well, maybe we're not moving, even though it never changed that we were moving, because there was no good communication of hey, who heard this news that we're not moving, because there was a slight truth to it that there was the potential of it falling through, but it wasn't ever meant to be broadcasted. Um, it was just a potential that we worked out, and we still are moving, but somebody overheard something and told the staff, around February or March, and so then it was like, come April when I met with them again, a month after they had kind of this through the grapevine knowledge that we might not be moving, for me to confirm that we were moving. Like, well, now we only have a month to prepare, and I was like, well, this is frustrating because I get that you guys didn't, that you guys heard conflicting information over the last couple weeks, but I'm telling you now, and so I don't know why it changed. Anyway,
Yeah, I got you. Yeah, okay.
if there
So
was better communication, when, yeah.
so you were, so part of your solution to that problem was to create the monthly newsletter and the quarterly seminars.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And I mean, and it sounds like another solution to that situation is to have a principal who is a much more effective go-between between
Very,
corporate and staff than Pam was.
very, and that was one of the things that made sense to the staff of saying we're excited to have this new principal that can be your guys' not only your advocate but your messenger, so that you're getting up to date knowledge of what's happening and not getting kind of a personal bias, of somebody who's already frustrated at corporate.
Yeah, right. Yeah, somebody who can be a clear messenger going in both directions.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay, great. Yeah.
Dang it. Yeah, I don't want that chapter to, because that was completely valid. It looked like who would ever do that? And I mean, what legitimate boss would do that? But I totally did, because it was it's how it formed.
Yeah. I mean, I think, to me, this is the kind of fascinating and just true thing about organizations. It's the dynamics are so complex, and each situation evolves individually.
Totally.
And so, yeah.
Startup companies and small businesses that don't have the 20 years of policies and procedures and HR that when X happens, Y happens. When it's just such a perfect system and order of things. It might hopefully just show that in the real world of small business, there's not a perfect manual for everything.
Yeah.
Not a perfect handbook for every scenario. And this was one of the ones that kind of we're able to build now so that it doesn't happen again. But that's how policies and procedures are built, is when things happen and you learn from them and you kind of fix it so they don't happen again in the future. But I don't know how to paint that message as, hey guys, this is kind of a unique scenario. Hopefully it's not a scenario that would happen in your small business or your life, but it does potentially happen in the small business world. Maybe not the big corporate world, but it does.
Oh,
Uncommon.
I know plenty of people who work for, big corporations, and there's lots of frustration. There's plenty of
Oh,
frustration. Yeah,
good.
sure.
Well,
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know if that's good, but it's.
I mean, it just means there's potential for growth everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And I think that as far as I know, the statistics on retention at big corporations are not nearly what the management would like them to be. Everybody's trying to figure out how to retain good workers.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I actually think that what you're proposing, which is that a leader have really good listening skills and communication skills, is kind of a solution.
I hope so, because that's pretty much all we have going for us right now, is just our huge recommitment to being overly communicative.
Yeah. All right. So I will. Yeah, communicative. Yeah. So I will add. All right. I'll add this new information into the chapter. I don't have anything else on that chapter. Do you have anything else to add on that one?
Not that chapter.
Okay. So do you want to, you had told me at the very end of our last conversation, you had told me 2 other stories. Do you want to focus on them, or is there something else?
Yeah.
All right, good. So yeah, the two stories. Let me just move this. Um, two stories that you told me were, I guess, had to do with, I don't know how you would characterize it, but I think of it as just being honest when there's bad news. Is that
Yeah,
how
which,
you would characterize it?
oh, yes, like,
The two stories being you at first refraining from telling your management
staff.
staff how that you guys were heading for a crisis, and then them kind of knowing it anyway,
Yeah,
and then finally you telling them, and then them getting pretty motivated about taking initiative to
solving it.
fix things. And then the other story being the story of Lex Group, where you, from the beginning to the end, kind of withheld the financial difficulties you were facing, and the
hmm
company folded, right?
Definitely. Yeah,
Yeah,
how do I extrapolate on that? Because it was a big kind of, like, eye-opening, um, realization when I kind of, I don't know if it was just humbled or what, or just, got to the very bottom, hit rock bottom and just said, guys, I can't shield you guys from not knowing this anymore. Whatever it was, I'm grateful for it because I think it needs to happen for every company, even if they're doing great. Just the honesty of everything. Like, even if you're afraid of disappointing, if you're afraid of being embarrassed as a leader, it's very easy to be, you know, egotistical and think, well, I'm leading this company. If something happens wrong, then it's a direct uh, result of me not being great at something. And so, when really that is just a, a weakness. Like, how was my brain thinking of it? It was really cool. It's like a false, it's a false accomplishment of a leader to think that their staff is proud of their leader if nothing bad happens or if things are always just going good. Like, your staff, in my experience, appreciate and enjoy being part of solutions
yeah,
that the leader shared with them, rather than, hey, we're all here along for the ride. The leader is, he can do with or without us, because he can do no wrong, and he's so smart, that the leader feels like that is a victory and an accomplishment that his staff or whoever, whatever onlooker, sees it as like, wow, they're so successful, they're such an accomplishment. When that accomplishment isn't even there. It's like, um, it, it's more impressive for onlookers and the staff to be, hey guys, here's something that I'm not great at, and you are great at that. So I know if you can do this for me, and you, Jim, can do this, and we can do this, we can get over this hump together. Because I need you guys to be able to do that. Because if I did it, it wouldn't be nearly as good. Like, kind of back to that same thing. They don't care how much you know until they know how much you care. Then all of a sudden, if you do come up with a solution to this common knowledge problem, people are like, wow, he is smart. He is, they see the inner workings a lot better. And I'm not describing this too well, but I really think it's easy for a leader to feel victorious and feel accomplished and like they are the biggest problem solver